Chapter 1 of an unknown number of chapters about my life before I even dreamed of meeting Arthur. For visual stimulation, we're going to be doing these videos in and around our little town of Bellingham. So let's figure out where to start. I was born in 1953. I don't remember a darn thing about that. A vague memory of crying in a crib in a black and white room at our farm in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Very different story. So, as a child, I immediately, and I mean immediately, wanted to know how things work. Like almost every Christmas tree in every home, our tree was decorated. We decorated it as a family on the tippy top of the tree, way up high, with the Christmas star. I was so fascinated by it, and I looked up at it in worship and admiration, but I wanted to know how it works. Well, darn it, I had to find out. I need to gather courage to sneak into the basement of the house, grab some tools from Dad's workshop, and sneak up from the basement all the way up to the third floor attic where we stored our Christmas decorations. I quietly poked through the decorations and I found that magic star, and I took it apart, and I found out it glowed in the night because it had a light bulb inside of it. When I tried to put that magical star back together, I faced a catastrophe and a major tragedy. I could not put it back together. I dropped some of the screws into the cracks of the floor of the attic. I cried and I cried. My father did not know about this until the following Christmas. He got mad at me at first. Then he realized I was a very curious little boy, about 7 years old in the first grade in school. That, my dear friends, was the spark that ignited my curiosity in electricity and electronics. During those times, as a wonderful gift, our father took the entire family to the Museum of Science in Boston every single month. We would go through all the exhibits in the museum, and then we would go and see a show in the planetarium. I have learned an awful lot from those visits. Thank you, Dad, and thank you, the Museum of Science. And to this day, I hold the Museum of Science in Boston dear to my heart. I love you. A friend of my father's, his name was Galen Vincent. He was an airline pilot, but he also had hobbies in electronics, and he gave me an old TV set that was not working so I can learn electronics. I remember it vividly. There was no cabinet. It was just the chassis, the electronics. I took it up to my bedroom, and I played with it, and I played with it, and 2 weeks later, I've got it working. Shortly thereafter, my father, a wonderful man by the name of Calvin Allen, built me a bench in the basement workshop so I can really get into my hobby, into electronics. I think what was going on in his mind, that here's a boy who has a curiosity in technology, and this may save him from trouble. So my father also helped me put my first advertisement in the newspaper. Neither my father nor myself knew anything about marketing, so we just had to kind of go at it and cross our fingers. The advertisement in the classified section of the Winchester Star read, "Wanted old TVs and radios and electronics. Budding junior scientist badly needs raw materials. Please call Parkview 9 6627." That's, by the way, is how we used telephone numbers those days. And boy, my father and I drove around Winchester, Massachusetts, and collected many old TVs and radios. Playing and later servicing those old TVs and radios, I really learned a lot about electronics by the 5th and the 6th grade or so in school. I helped my neighbors fix their TV sets, and at school, my teacher would excuse me from class to help another teacher set up a television set in her classroom. This became a ritual at our school, happened once or twice every single week. My best friend Peter Jocelyn and myself set up a electronic intercom between our bedrooms, mine on the 3rd floor of 17 Crescent Road, and Peter Jocelyn on the 3rd floor of Mason Street. About 100-foot length of wire we had to string between the houses so we can talk privately back and forth. Later on, Mom and Dad had me set up an intercom all over the house, so when dinner's ready, Mom can go to the intercom in the kitchen, push a button, and announce, "Come and get it, come and get it." Oh, those were fun times. Sure, there was drama. We fought over what to watch on television. My sister would complain with my playing with electronics interfered with her favorite TV program. It was called Sea Hunt. A wonderful climax of this story was in junior high school. I decided to build an oscilloscope. For those of you who don't know, an oscilloscope is a piece of electronic equipment that you use to test electronics. I was poor. I had to use parts of old TV sets in my collection to build the oscilloscope. We had to use a chassis made out of parts of TV cabinets. But by gosh, I did it. I connected an old magnetic loudspeaker to use as a microphone so people could see what their voices sound like. That oscilloscope was in my 9th grade science fair at beautiful McCall Junior High School in Winchester. It did not get any prizes. I think the judges just did not believe I built it. However, far more important than any prize was that I got a mentor. A fellow student at that science fair was the son of a senior electronics engineer at Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston. He became my mentor for about 20 years. His name was Mr. Paul Vankovich. Unfortunately, he's passed on now, but I will remember him forever and forever. During my high school years at a college prep school called Tabor Academy, I met my first disaster, but it was a funny one. I tried to set up a business, getting old TV sets from the town dump, fixing them and selling them to the boarding students at Tabor Academy who could not have TV sets in their dorm rooms. More on that story and about Tabor Academy in another video. This beautiful childhood hobby, as well as a more nefarious hobby in locksmithing, I think I broke many, many rules. I feel, though, it's safe for me to talk about them now. We're 50 years away, and I think the statute of limitations is long, long gone. At the town dump, they had a town ordinance that you're not supposed to take anything from the dump without permission from the staff. Well, I did it, and everybody else did it, and I came up with a little song. Oh, oh, grump, down at the dump. Oh, despite what you say, I will take away all of your junk. No, it will probably not win an Emmy or a Grammy. Now, with the other hobby in locksmithing, boy, did I break rules. Oh boy, oh boy. Let's see now. Oh, I made myself a Grandmaster key to beautiful McCall Junior High School. I also made a Grandmaster key to our beautiful, gorgeous waterfront campus at Tabor Academy. But most naughty of all, I made myself a Grandmaster key to a huge institution in Boston. That was our not-so-beautiful Logan International Airport, named after my non-boyfriend, General Edward Lawrence Logan. This airport was huge. It also never closed, so I could probably get away with stealing one or two locks, making keys to them, and putting them back. It was dangerous, it was frightening, but nothing happened. I did nothing with that master key. I just wanted to prove a point. I then stuck it in a hole in the floor of the basement of 17 Crescent Road in Winchester. Now, the good news for all you folks is I rather quickly ditched my hobby into locksmithing, but I realized it would not have such a pleasant future. So I continued with my electronics and for the rest of my life, pretty much until I acquired the hobby of sewing. And for you folks here in Bellingham and online, I hope you have enjoyed the fruits of that hobby in sewing, and later on the hobby of welding and glassworking, and of course animation. I see that we are approaching beautiful Zwenich Park, a place along with all other beautiful parks of our wonderful town where I can partake in my hobbies of making videos about myself, my hobbies, and whatever I want to say. A very important hobby of mine is following 4 beloved proverbs by my dear friend Gandhi. 1 is dance like nobody is watching, sing like nobody's listening, live like you're going to die tomorrow, and love like you're going to live forever. And I can add some of my own. Dance and sing like you don't care what those may like or dislike about what you are doing. Carry on life from deep within your heart, knowing that my most endearing love is for all of you everywhere. Of course, I love you all.